Welcome, beautiful women. My name is Leah Sky. I'm the founder of the Feminine Network and your host for today. And I'm so excited to welcome Solange from the Daring Collective, who is joining us for today's masterclass on speaking as visibility from performing to connecting. So Solange is going to help us explore how we can move away from feeling like we have to perform or say everything correctly and perfectly, and instead use our voice, our presence, and the right speaking opportunities to build authority, to create genuine connection and attract clients who are aligned with us and our energy. So there will be a replay available after today's session, so you can come back and revisit anything that really lands for you. But for now, Solange, I'm going to hand it over to you. We are so happy to have you here.
Thank you, Leah, and thank you everyone for joining today. I am very grateful to be here for this opportunity to share my work with you, but also to hear you and learn from your experiences. So if you're willing, we're going to interact with the chat, with the reactions, and at some point you can open the mic and ask some questions at the end. I will start by sharing my screen and talking about a little bit why is this called speaking as visibility. So basically, when I first arrived in Australia 10 years ago, I felt like no one, because no one knew me, and the other way, I did not know anyone either. So I thought the only way to get to know people is to start speaking with people. And that terrified me because English is my second language. So for many years, I hid behind being a Spanish speaker, excusing myself for my accent and fearing that no one would want to be friends with me and create meaningful relationships because of that. And then I became a mother, and I started realizing that I could not be a mother in isolation and that I needed a community to raise my children. So I started going out, putting myself out there, connecting with other mothers. And through those connections, I realized that we had so many things in common, and that even though I was from a different cultural background, there are things we share as humans, right? And then I decided to open my own business, and I will share a bit more about it later. But that was a new identity I had to embody, and I had to start communicating from that place of authenticity in order to attract clients who would be aligned with what I have to offer. So those three stages, migrating, becoming a mother, becoming a business owner, have allowed me to realize the importance of speaking if we want to become visible. Because when we speak is when people get to know us. It's not through only our words, but also our body language and the tone of our voice. So we are going to discuss this today and to see how we can use those tools to better reflect our talents, our potential, and to better attract clients who are aligned with what we have to give to the world. So as I named this masterclass, from performing to connecting, because that's been the journey I had to go through. And that's why I can now affirm that your voice is your choice. And we have chosen a voice when we were young, and we may not even remember when or how we did it. But at some point in life, we decided how our voice would sound. And from that day on, we identified with that voice. This is who we are, and there are no voices that are the same. So if we hear different people, even when they're twins, they have different voices, even when they have the same upbringing in the same country, in the same family, our voice is unique to us. That does not mean we cannot change it, because just as our identity, we have a choice. And the way we communicate, we can choose how to present, how to behave, because communication is a behavior. And as I said before, it not only relates to the sound of your voice, but also how you use your facial expressions, your movements, your body language, because that's mainly what people will read first when you're trying to build trust with them. And communication is a tool for building trust. And especially when you have your own business, trust is the main important thing that you're building, because clients who trust you will go along and will work with you. So if anything, I want you to remember this phrase, your voice is your choice. And I want you to start thinking, how did I make an identity of myself at some point, what did I choose that my voice was, and what limiting beliefs have I held that allowed my voice to just express itself to a certain point, but I also hid some parts of myself. Now, I share that this is my own story because when I arrived in Australia, I saw myself as a performer. I'm a professional singer. I have been doing this for many years in Argentina, around the world. I have been working cruise ships. And before Australia, I worked in Europe and Asia. So when I first arrived in Australia, that's the first thing I wanted to do, was to sing and to teach singing lessons. And I was lucky enough to find a space for it. And I did go around Australia in singing in festivals and connecting with musicians and people who value music. And I realized that because I was singing in Spanish, I was singing music from my home country. So I'm from Argentina. I was singing tango music. And I realized many people did not understand the words that I was singing, but they would still come and said that they felt moved and touched by the music and my voice and the intention. So I realized that my voice had the power of communicating intentions, not only ideas, but also emotions. And in this picture here, you can see me. I was at the Suncorp Stadium. I was singing the national anthem for Argentina in front of a really big crowd, like over 30,000 people. And that day I understood how I had to change my mindset in order to expand my voice. Because that day I was scared that my voice was not going to sound as powerful as it should in a big stadium. And also I started comparing myself to the person who was singing the national anthem for Australia. And I thought, oh, he's a professional opera singer, and what am I doing here? But I had to change my mindset and to tell my body I was safe and that I was able to expand and perform from a place of presence. And that led my nervous system to regulate. And I ended up having that experience, which was one of the most exciting experiences in my whole life. Understanding that my voice has a big power and it can impact many people. And that's what I want to invite you to do, to trust your voice as a tool for connection, as a tool for impact. And because of that, I want you to change the mindset. Instead of thinking of performing because we want to be flawless and we want to be perceived as perfect as possible, especially nowadays with social media and artificial intelligence content, we feel a pressure to be exposed as the perfectionist version of ourselves. But I want you to drop that like expert mask and just present yourself as who you truly are, and to invite you to shift from performing to connecting. And that's what I did. So through the past 5 years, I have started a community called the Daring Collective, where I have been empowering women to own their own voice, own their own story through the podcast, which is a storytelling platform. We share the stories of different women who have dared to change and to expand and to occupy space and stop shrinking in order to belong, and instead embodying who they truly are. And that space allowed me to connect with diverse women and to create meaningful relationships with them, but also to understand that there was a common problem, which was that they had never explored their voice as a tool for visibility. And that's what led me to organizing events and spaces like the one you can see, which are for creating a safe space for us to practice this with like-minded women who would support us throughout the way and be able to pitch our business with confidence and create those connections for potential referrals, potential clients, being able to explain the value of what you have to offer, and being able to drop every expectation and just show yourself with vulnerability, which is for me one of the main important things to do, but also the scariest one, because showing who you truly are, telling your story it's a bit scary sometimes. And if you have felt that speaking is a strategy that you would want to give a go to, and it is a tool for growth, then you're in the right space, because today that's what we're going to do. And to get started, I would like you to reflect about how did you do that in the past. So I'm sure that you have already started your own social media like presence and use different platforms to show your work. But I want to ask you, how much have you shown of yourself in those platforms through your business? If you sell products or if you have a service, like how much do you talk about your own story, what you have learned along the way, and not only about your offer and your services? So my invitation for today is to start thinking of your story and your experience as your main asset in order to connect with the clients who are truly aligned with the unique way that you have of doing things. And sometimes I want to address the thing that is that we need a strategy. Sometimes we are not sure what steps to follow. We understand this is important, but we haven't thought about having a visibility strategy. So today we're going to create a strategy with actions that you can do. And of course, if you need any support, we will be here to support you. Leah has created a beautiful network of amazing women with amazing businesses for us to support each other. So I would like to start by thinking of what is preventing you from using your voice in a more expanded way. As I said before, from a young age, we have started creating beliefs around what is appropriate, what is allowed, what is safe for us in order to belong and to be valued and to be loved. So some people have the fear of rejection or the fear of judgment. Some people are a perfectionist or they feel the imposter syndrome. And all those limiting beliefs prevent them from using their voice in an expanded way. So if this is you, if you have ever felt one of those like restricting beliefs or emotions, I would like you to set yourself free from those beliefs. And even though it is hard to build new beliefs and just get rid of the old beliefs, I think that once we create a voice that is empowered, that voice is able to just suppress those limiting beliefs that may still be there. Because I won't lie to you, we all have like little tiny voice that is trying to discourage us from trying new things because it's too dangerous. And that's our nervous system trying to protect us from change, from something that's uncertain. But when we start creating evidence that this is not only possible and doable, but also it is productive and it leads to growth, then we start trusting in our own instincts, in our own voices, like inner voices that allow us to expand and to make better choices for ourselves. So I would like you to use the chat or your fingers if you're not able to type. And I would like you to share with me what is preventing you from using your voice as a visibility tool. So number one would be your mindset. So we were talking about beliefs or limiting beliefs, or not only beliefs, but also experiences that have led you to think that, oh, I'm not good at speaking, or I'm too shy, I get blushed, I get tense. When I speak, I don't feel comfortable. I can do it one-on-one, but maybe not in front of a big group. So that would be number one. Number two is more around your message. So you do not have clarity about what to say and also how to say it, because it's not only, as I said, words, but also the intention behind the words that you're sharing. And number three is the map. So how to reach those ideal clients for them to be able to see your value, the value of your offer, and what you have to bring to the world. So I'll just check quickly. And if you're watching the replay, I invite you to do this exercise. I think it's valuable to know where we are in order to make progress. It's always important to assess what we're trying to solve here. And thank you for sharing. I see that some of you identify that maybe all of them. Some of you, it's mindset. So it starts with how do you speak to yourself, right? And what ideas and beliefs you hold for yourself. And some people think that the message is not clear enough. And some others, they have worked in their messaging, but now they need a plan for that message to land and to reach the right people at the right time. So thank you very much for sharing. And it's good to see that there is a bit of everything here in the room today. And I want to discuss about this sociocultural belief about the tall poppy syndrome, that if we stand out, that's not appropriate, that's not celebrated. And this is a sociocultural belief. And what it shows is that it's not only on us, that holding those limiting beliefs has been part of society in order to belong. We are human beings. We want to be acknowledged. We want to be included. And then for that reason, we have common beliefs without even realizing. So this is one of them. And I did not know this was a thing here in Australia, but I suddenly realized that it's very common for people not to stand out because that would not be appropriate. And it is a bit against us as business owners, where we need to be able to find the right clients and they need to find us. How are we going to do that if we are not showing exactly why we are amazing, right? So without bragging, without not being from a place of ego, but from a place of true connection with who you are and the things you have to give to the world, as this is your unique expertise. And even though there are many people doing the same thing, no one will do it the way that you do it. So by embracing that uniqueness, you just allow yourself to be expanded and to grow, but not because you are the only one growing. You allow everyone else to do the same and to connect with each other in the best possible way, without power struggles, without having to be more because that's the only way I can feel valuable. And for that, I need other people to be less, and I make other people feel they are less than. It's just I will be the best expanded version of myself so I can allow others to do the same, because this is contagious. It's a vibration that we share. And when we see people who are in that vibration, we feel the permission that if they do it, we can do it too. So that's why they say surrounding yourself with the right people is important, because those people will set that permission and that freedom for you to express yourself as who you truly are. So thank you, Leah, for creating this network, because I feel like this is a safe space for us to do that. And I want to speak about the embodied approach, which is the approach I created for communication. And I created this to support, at the beginning, migrant women, but it ended up being supporting women who are disconnected from their voice. And as I said before, your voice is not only the words you choose, but how you embody those words and how you set intentions and communicate those intentions with your body language. So the first thing I would like you to think is, how are we connecting with our clients? When we have opportunities like in networking events, one-on-one sales calls, how are we showing ourselves? Are we trying to hide the vulnerable parts of us, of our business? Or are we allowing everyone to see that we are also struggling with some things, but we have learned and figured out other things? In that sharing, we connect, because we connect through stories. Are you sharing your story in that space? And are you sharing only the successes, or are you also sharing the struggles? So for social media, if you are a consumer, you would notice that scrolling is very fast. People's attention span is very short, but the things that catch our attention the most are the things that connect with our emotions, for some reason, reflecting our desires, reflecting our pains. So if we are not able to open up our hearts and speak about those pains and those feelings that we have, then it is hard to connect with others. And I know for personal experience that I have always been trying to hide the different things I struggle with. I always wanted to show myself as the accomplished person. My brother had a disability, so I grew up with someone who couldn't do what I could, and that led me to shrink and dim my light. And just because I did not want to like him to feel uncomfortable, I started feeling like if I was too successful, that would make me feel guilty. And at some point, because of therapy and many things that I did, I realized that I had to be able to show that I was struggling with that. And I had to be able to connect with people from a place of not knowing and not from a place of I have it all figured out. So I'm sharing this with you because each of us has a pain like deep down in our hearts that we don't want anyone to see. And this is something I do not share often. And for me to be able to talk about it is a way of telling myself and my nervous system, like, it's okay. Like, no one will reject you or no one will judge you because of your past choices. And integrating who I am and just being able to embrace all those different parts of myself is part of this journey of communicating with more presence and with showing fully who I am. So, as I said, and you may have seen these statistics before, the body language is 55 of your communication. So when someone tells you something, even though the words may sound pretty, if the body language does not match what they are saying, then you will not believe them, right? So we often trust more facial expressions and the posture and how we move our hands, how open our body language is, rather than just the words that we hear. So I want to also talk about the trends nowadays, like in social media and how people like move in a certain way. And it's like we're all like blending with each other because of following those trends. And I want to encourage you to be different and to be like authentic in a way that you move, in the way that you use your voice. And maybe you have not explored that before. And there's this saying like fake it till you make it, which I hate because I don't believe that's a way to achieve our highest potential. It only signals that we need to like build a mask and a costume, let's say, and we fake to be that until we feel like confident to actually like show ourselves truly, which I feel like it's a long way to go. Instead, I would like to invite you to explore different things that you have not tried before. And by exploring, you will start realizing that some movements feel more comfortable to you, or some ways of using your voice, like the musicality in your voice and how you change the tone, the speed, the intensity, how you use the pause, which is very powerful. Those things, we can learn them. It's not that we are born with them. So by exploring those different things, you start realizing that even though you may memorize a script, like that will not connect. And if you start speaking from a place of authenticity, even if it's not improvised fully, because you know your topic, you know what you're talking about, it's your expertise, and you dedicated your life to this for a reason. And this idea chose you for a reason. So you may be passionate about what you do. And if you share that from a place of love and just share why you love what you do and what led you to do it, then your body will start moving naturally and you will not feel scripted. You will not feel robotic or tense, because when we connect with what we truly want to say, then we don't even think about our body language. It just comes naturally. So that's my invitation for today. Usually we start, for example, we think we need to record a reel. So we start with ChatGPT and we write the perfect script, and then we force ourselves to memorize that script perfectly, or we edit the video and it takes a long time to make it like look flawless. And instead, what if you just start recording yourself. And that's like the first thing I want to share. This is the anti-burnout approach, because I like, just by the fact of thinking that I have to record like 12 reels a month, I start feeling stressed, right? We don't want to be like slaves of the algorithm. So the first thing I would like you to try is to transition from being seen to being recognized as the expert of what you do, to reaching that strategic presence, being able to be found by the right people at the right times who are truly aligned with what you have to offer. The first step is to be comfortable with what you're delivering, and not only your service, but also your message and the way you share about your life, about your work. So the first step is to own your narrative in spaces you control. So I was talking about editing, and this is one of the easiest way of getting used to speaking. So you turn on your camera, and without a script, you start talking about what you did on that day, that week. You don't even need to share it. It's for you. It's for you to get comfortable with breathing in front of the camera, and on looking at the lens directly, on how you move your hands without feeling awkward. And once you have done that, then you can choose a format that works best for you. And just not only Instagram, but also like podcasting or even blogging nowadays is back to be something that we want to pursue more and more, because we realize that there's content that's being generated with AI, and that is breaking the ability to trust in everything that is out there. So choosing a format that best aligns to you is a matter of finding, like, how can I be like raw in a way? Like, how can I just show my daily lives, not what you're eating and where you're going every day, but what you're learning every day. So what you're grateful for, those things that you sometimes kept for yourself because you thought, oh, this is too intimate. How can I start allowing myself to show a little bit more about those things? And the next step would be that your audience gets to know you. So Leah said, when I first arrived today to the meeting, I had that picture of me singing, and she said, I didn't know you were singing. You were a singer. So I realized, like, oh, maybe I never talked about how I was a singer before being a communications coach. And that maybe she knows one side of me, but she doesn't, or she hasn't seen the full picture yet. And that's because it takes time. We cannot go to every networking event and tell our whole life story. It takes time to build relationships, but also it takes from your side the openness to share about those stories and about the things you've learned along the way. And we find it useful as humans to learn from others, because that means that we will not make the same mistakes, but also because we feel empathy. We feel we're not alone. So just by sharing your story, just think of someone else who is waiting to hear what you need to say, and how you will allow them to feel less lonely. So this I call the digital rehearsal, because it's all controlled. You can edit it, you can share it where you want, but the next step is the validation stage, which is when you start interacting live with your potential clients. It could be virtually or in person through spaces like this, or networking events, or women's circles. And at the beginning, you want to listen more than speak, because you want to understand what words they use to communicate what they experienced, and how do they describe their needs, their desires, their pains. And by doing that, you will define exactly who your ideal client is. At the beginning, when we start a business, we want as many clients as possible, but we realize down the track that not everyone is our ideal client, because they are not in the exact stage where we can help them. So by interacting with them, we then start collecting footage, which I mean is documenting those experiences where you interact with people. And then it's just not your content about yourself, but it's about who you share it with, who you spend time with. And not from a place of bragging, like, oh, I went to this meeting and the other meeting, look how busy I am, because the other thing is like nowadays productivity is like overly rated, and people who look really busy, they look very successful. But I want to encourage you to just be truthful to your energy levels. If you don't feel like going out for a networking event, what are other ways of connecting with people, and find them where they are? So sometimes it's just like having a chat with someone at your yoga class, or sometimes it's just opening up and going to a public space and trying to find like someone that you can connect to. I went to a TEDx event recently. I went by myself, and I thought like, who am I going to talk here? I don't know anyone. But then I started like screening, and I realized like, just because of the body language, like I felt that there was a person that I would feel aligned to, and she ended up being a friend. Like now we speak like often. So it's about turning up and just being true to how you feel, and not having to impose, oh, I need to be like high energy today because we're in this space. Like just be there as you are, and then you will attract the right people. And then it's asking for feedback, because we want to know how our message lands. So this sometimes is asking for feedback to past clients, or to other business owners who understand what it takes to build your own business, what it takes to record your videos, what it is to share your events. So it is important, as I said before, to validate your offer or your service through speaking with other people, and not just your own ideas, but just doing some research and testing and understanding the market in which you are. I can see that there are some comments in the chat. I love it. Connection, it truly happens everywhere. And this is how I ended up here in the first place, right? Now, I want you to work on your unique strategic positioning. And that's a fancy way of saying, how do you express how valuable it is what you have to give? How, in one sentence, how do you show the transformation you bring through your services or products? And it's a combination of what you have to offer, who you are, and what makes you unique, and how you do things differently than other people. So your values. And I think by having that one sentence, it's very simple for you to adapt to the context, because regardless of where you are, these three things will not change. You will know exactly what you do and why you do it. You will know exactly how you are the right person to do that for that client. And also, you will be able to show your values not only through words, but also through actions. So how you do things relates to the service, from the time that where a client meets you and gets to know what you do, until the time where they give you feedback and they recommend you to other businesses. So all that customer journey has to be embedded in your values, and being able to explain how is that something that makes you unique and different will put you ahead other people who are not able to articulate that. Because as you know, being even consumers, we not always buy from the best, but we buy from the person who is best able to explain what the benefits are, what the improvement will be, what the transformation will be. My USP, Leah, yes, of course. So I support women who are building their businesses to create a voice that truly reflects their talents, by guiding them in a process of finding their own voice through embodied presence. So that would be my USP. You can draft yours and replace, so fill the gaps, but you can make it yours so there's not a right or wrong way of doing it. It has to feel true to you. And then based on what you do, I want you to think of a speech. You can make it as short or as long as possible. So if you have 30 minutes to talk at an event, you will follow this structure. If it's an elevator pitch, 2 minutes, you will follow this structure. These are the 4 core pillars that you will have to include when you're given the opportunity to pitch your business. So the first one is, how do we build trust, and how do we create the sense of understanding or mutual understanding? By stating the problem we are trying to solve. So how can we connect and allow people to see that we get them? We know what they're going through. The second part is being able to establish authority by changing what they think the solution is and presenting them with our perspective of what the solution truly is. Because usually people think they have a problem, but we as experts can see that the problem that they think they have is usually not the real problem they need to solve. The third point is the method. So that will prove your competence in terms of solving that problem by having a structured way of doing things. So usually information is out there. Everyone knows everything, but not everyone implements the information because they do not have a structured path. And that's what we provide. We provide them a package or a set of sessions or a package of products that with that, they will be able to reach from A to B, so from where they are to where they want to be. And therefore, we give them the invitation, which is to be part of this transformational process. So for someone who sells products, this also applies because usually people buy when they feel the will to take action. And it's through emotions and emotional connection that we decide, and not through rational features that we decide what we want and when we want it. So this is about persuasive communication and how when we explain what we do, we often fall in a trap of listing the things that we do instead of speaking about the benefits. How will this solve what you want to solve or help you achieve what you want to achieve? And therefore, if you delay taking action, this will be the negative impact. So this will be the consequence. So in the invitation part, you can not only invite them to take action promptly because this is urgent, because sometimes all those, for example, call to actions like one-time offer, 25% discount if you buy now, all those call to actions want us to feel anxiety. And I'm not aligned with that. But there's another way of doing it from a place of groundness and from a place of allowing the other person to see what would be the impact of not taking action. And then they can decide for themselves. So we are just showing them the way because we have been there. So think about talking to the person you were 5 years ago and how what you know now allows that person to be where you are now. And those who are your ideal clients who are trying to get where you are now will listen that there is a way possible. And because of you speaking from experience, from your own lived story, then they will receive the invitation, not as a sales pushy thing, but as a true connection offering. Now, we can't be everywhere all the time. We need to be really mindful with our energy and how we use our voice wisely. That's why, for me, this is the authority revenue framework, which we need to be aligned with these 4 things in order to decide whether an opportunity is worth pursuing in terms of where to present our speech, where to introduce ourselves, which circles to attend, and what opportunities are worth working towards. So this is, for example, when you're invited to share what you do in front of an audience. So then you think, okay, who is going to be there? Who am I talking to? And is that either my ideal client type of audience, or are the multipliers, so potential collaborators or referral partners? So that's one aspect that will let you know that that's the right place for you to be in. Then is this format allowing me to show my value? So what's the depth of what I'm allowed to share in that space? And then in terms of payment, is there a fee for me to participate, or is there a benefit that will enable me to expand my business? For example, being able to collect leads or being able to pitch a product or a service. And the last one is dignity, which is if this platform aligns with your values. There are so many opportunities out there, and just choosing wisely will save you so many headaches, because when you choose spaces that align to you and to your business, you will find that everything will flow beautifully. You will not have to, even though sometimes there are challenges that we need to face, but you will feel like those challenges are for you to grow and not for you to drain your energy. Now, the last thing I want you to think about is your strategic presence. So when you are there, you finally are at the place where you need to be, surrounded by the people you want to be surrounded with. You have prepared your message and you're clear, you're confident about how you're going to deliver. Often what happens is that we are a bit anxious about, okay, when is it going to be my turn to share? So for example, we are in a networking event or a women's circle, and we're in our head a lot instead of being truly present and listening to other people and grounding ourselves and regulating our nervous system helps, because it allows us to just be there fully and connect truly with the people who are there. And sometimes it's even not about talking, but it's about listening and allowing them to show what they want to share. Those people who feel valued and heard will then pay attention to you. So just by being present, and I'm showing this picture because on that day, I was presenting myself as a business owner for the first time. And even though I had been on stage many times, I felt a bit nervous because that was my new identity I was embodying. And I had to go to the bathroom and breathe and do some grounding exercises through mindfulness, connect with my 5 senses. And that made a whole difference. And I want you to try the same thing. If you feel like your heartbeat is a bit accelerated, or you feel nervous, your hands start sweating, and you start tensing your muscles, just take a moment to yourself. It's okay just to take a break, ground yourself through your breathing, and start connecting with your voice, which is an exercise I would like us to do now. So I will just encourage you to start breathing. So we're going to breathe deeply using our diaphragm muscles. We're going to find the space inside our mouth. It could be a yawn, even with your mouth closed. And we're going to start humming and creating vibration. And through that vibration, connecting with our body. Humming is always soothing and regulating. And hear the sound of your voice and how unique it is. And we're going to think of a word, the word that pops up now in your mind, an intention for you to start using your voice. And we're going to say that word out loud. Once we give sound to our thoughts, they become vibration. That vibration expands and is able to touch other people's hearts. So I encourage you to find the vibration of your voice, to find the right words, the ones that feel aligned with you, and to start sharing your message, because we're here to hear it. We want to see you grow and expand and thrive as business owners. And if you want any support, I'm here to offer you a strategy audit. If you feel like you have been trying to use your voice in a meaningful way, but you found challenges along the way, I'm happy to check with you what have you done, what can you do differently. And if you're looking for a space to put this in practice, we're hosting an event in October, which is exciting because it will be in the city, in a big space. We're a stage, and if you attend, you will be able to speak on the microphone, which I know sometimes it's quite intimidating, but it's a great opportunity to speak in front of a group and be part of a community that supports you. So I would love to leave some time for questions. You can ask me anything. And also, if you want to share from your experience how this journey has been using your voice as a business owner. So I'll just stop sharing.
Oh my goodness, Solange, that was amazing. I would love, does anyone have any questions for Solange or any thoughts, insights, comments they would like to share about that? That was so much. I can't wait. I'm so happy that we are recording this and we can watch the replay because that was so much to take in. I've been taking notes as we're going. Yeah, Helena, it really was. I'm so honored to have you here. Victoria, Storm, Hannah, does anyone have any questions for her? Well, if no one has one, would love to ask, so the event that you're creating, I know that it was suggested I join a Toastmasters, which you go and do like weekly practices, but is there anything that you run like that helps, like a weekly thing or a community that helps women within the Daring Collective to practice this and to have a chance to share their voice?
Yes, so we have the Speech Lab,
The
which is a
speech lab.
weekly online space where we learn tools and we apply them in the moment. So it's a practice session. Every session we practice a specific framework or a specific skill. So it's all about posture, body language, voice tone, and how to structure your message, but also how to be able to feel confident to improvise. So we practice some impromptu speaking. We do role plays sometimes if the challenge is, for example, a one-on-one sales call. So each participant comes with a specific challenge they want to solve, and we implement the tools in that space.
Awesome. I'll get the details of that after and I'll pop it into the event.
I'm Sarah's friend. Um, I just wanted to know when your event is in October.
Yes, so it will be the 9th of October. It's a Friday in the city. So yeah, we can share those details with you later.
Yeah, if you
But
have a link, just drop it in the chat now and I will put it in the email with the replay.
Sounds good. The event is called Speak Out Loud, Changing the Narrative. And it's about how when we present in front of an audience, especially on stage with a microphone, everything we've been working on fades and we start feeling dysregulated again. So it's like the next level of feeling confident with yourself, your voice, and your body presence. And Beck is asking, apart from breathing, are there any nervous system regulation techniques that I use? Yes, there are. So there are many techniques that involve our five senses. So, for example, touch. So just by rubbing your hands, which is socially accepted, right? We can do it in front of other people. The 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 exercise. So 5 things you see, 4 things you hear, 3 things you smell, 2 things you touch, 1 thing you taste. So just by connected with your senses, you will start being more present in your body. So basically, the nervous system triggers emotions, and we try to overcompensate by overthinking. So we are in our mind a lot. And we learn that emotional intelligence means to name our feelings, right? And that's how our feelings decrease intensity. But then we over rationalize our feelings and we are not actually feeling them and experiencing them. So a part of nervous system regulation techniques is sitting with the feeling, being able to go through whatever is happening to us and have a conversation. So I use this a lot, where we have inner conversations. You can write it, you can act it out, where you ask that feeling, what is trying to tell you? Is there a need I'm not actually paying attention to? Or is there a desire? Is there something that I want? And emotions are just signals. And when we feel danger, we are triggered, but also when we feel like excitement. So another strategy is to reframe anxiety into excitement. So start acknowledging, oh, wow, yes, my body is shaking. Yes, this is because I care. If I did not care, I would not be here. So, as I said, there are many different techniques we use. Not everything works for everyone. So it's about exploring and trying, not just once, more than once, because sometimes it doesn't work the first time, but as you go and you do it, it starts working.
One of the things I use when I have to do, I've never done public speaking since my debating days, but I press my fingers together, and I know this is from because I teach it with Kundalini. It's like this Kirtan Kriya meditation. But when I get nervous or anxious and I have to do something that's hard for myself and I can feel my anxiety rising, I'll just sit there, my hands are by my side so no one can see them, but I will move them into that pattern. And it's a way, because I've done that meditation for so many years, for me, it brings me back into that level of like, I'm safe. This is my safe space. My fingers are doing the safe thing. It's all okay. So finding, yeah, and the pressure, feeling that physical pressure of my fingertips, just allows you to really be present there and stop thinking about all the thoughts that are swirling around.
Definitely. Also pressure in your arms
Yeah.
or tapping.
Can't really beat ourselves up on stage.
Mm-hmm. But also I think all that anxiety on stage comes from having your focus on what the outcome will be, instead of being there, being present with what it is happening and connecting with the audience, looking them the audience in their eyes and seeing what is truly happening. Instead, we are thinking ahead, oh, how are they going to think I went once I finished? And we're not there. So I think it's about shifting the focus to the present moment in whatever way possible, but also bringing the awareness of how your body is your instrument. And if you have done the work, if you worked on your body, then it's going to help you. It's not going to be against you. So just trusting all the work you put into being where you are, and that you know your content, you know what you're talking about.
Does anyone else have any questions for Solange while we have this amazing, beautiful woman in our presence? Right. Okay. In that case, I'm gonna thank you again for everything that you have brought today, Solange. There's so many things that I think we can actually bring into action straight away. If what she shared has resonated with you, I will be sharing the replay and links to connect with her and take advantage of her visibility audit that I'll get to her to talk to you about in a minute. And if this is your first time joining us at the Feminine Network, welcome. I'm so excited to see some new faces. We hold regular masterclasses like this, along with our signature business growth circles. These are events for women to connect, to get to know one another without the mask, as we love to say, and really support each other in their business growth. So yeah, thank you again, Solange, for sharing your time, your experience, and your wisdom with us. And thank you to every single woman that's taken the time to come join us today. I hope to see you at another event.